just a new, like some kind of episode, something I can talk about. And the thought that I was having today is, um, I guess a lot of times filmmakers are wondering either how to work with a producer, how to meet a producer, or how to start working with a producer. And then the truth is, how to meet a producer or how to network with other filmmakers, that can happen any other way, whether it's social media, whether it's networking places, or however. Um, but then when it comes to actually working with a producer, I think that's I think that's fair to talk about and ask about, because a lot of times when it comes to etiquette and how to work with a producer, a lot of times like filmmakers don't quite have the resources, or they don't have, like, no one's telling them like how to behave or how to what to do as everything. So I guess first of all, it's having your stuff, having your ducks in line. Like like obviously you're gonna know what your project is and what you're trying to sell. So you have your synopsis of your project written, and that's just a short paragraph of what the whole thing is about. A short paragraph, beginning, middle, and end, character motivation, what's going to happen in the story, what the character wants to do, and what's going to happen if he doesn't do it, all that stuff. And then we have more of a business standpoint of like a business plan, and then there's a whole, like, how a business plan is laid out. I guess it can really vary, but it should be by a certain structure of how is this producer gonna make money off this project, and then having there's other things, whether it's a video type of presentation or some kind of podcast presentation or some kind of presentation that is basically the same thing as the business plan. And now, when it comes to actually meeting and how you behave with that producer, uh, it varies depending on who the producer is, because sometimes people can be just, ah, keep it clean, Chase. So sometimes people can be very pretentious and loud and narcissistic and everything. Sometimes people are very easy to work with, and it really depends on what type of person you're dealing with. Obviously, if he's not a good person to deal with, you don't want to deal with that person anyway. But there's good people in this industry that you should definitely want to work with, and you should always try to work with those good people. But sometimes you can never tell which is which. But when working with a producer, no matter what, a producer is a producer, and it's important to have certain. It's like if you're an A-list star, you can walk into a room with a producer and say, okay, this is how it's gonna be, and you can kind of say, we need this much money, we're gonna shoot this, we're gonna do this, blah 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 is gonna happen, and then I can assure you you're gonna make this much money back. And there's no guarantees in this industry, no matter who you are, but because you're an A-list star. But if you are not an A-list celebrity, which most likely you're not, no offense, but if you're not an A-list celebrity, it's you still have to have certain things to stand on. So you walk into a meeting with a producer, you can't be willing. You can't just walk into a room with a producer and say, I want this and I'm not willing to give you anything, because you're going to get laughed out of that room. But you can't just be willing to give them everything, because the thing about it is if you give them everything, they will take everything. And as in, basically, a lot of producers who are just bad people, they want you to wipe your chin and walk away. And if you're willing to just bend over be easy, just be, and you're willing to just give them everything, then they will take everything. They will chew you up and spit you out, and then you will end up with nothing. You will end up with less money than you could possibly imagine. You will end up with no project, and you will end up, if you get what I'm saying. If you don't get what I'm saying, then please, no offense, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. But if you understand what I'm saying, then congratulations. But what was I saying? I can't remember what I was just saying. Oh yeah, working with a producer, you go into it knowing I'm willing to give you 90% of everything, but there are certain things I would like to keep out. And if you're a collaborative producer, which those are the only producers you want to work with, 90%, it's like, I would like this one blank actor, I would like this one blank character, I want this one location, I want blank amount of money, maybe not this amount of money, but it all just depends on what you're doing and how much you're willing to sacrifice, how much you're willing to compromise. And then if he's a collaborative producer, there's no reason why that wouldn't be a fair argument to work with. And then there's different distributions and everything like that. Maybe this one actor might want this role. Maybe he wants this, blah, blah, blah. And then you just keep going around talking stuff and blah, 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 and get all that stuff to work out perfectly. But if you, as a filmmaker, understand what you're willing to give up and what you want to keep, and you're working with a collaborative producer, then that's a very prosperous connection, and you should never give that connection up. And then, because you as a filmmaker and them as a producer, that's a very good connection. When you have that good collaborative relationship, you can create work for years, and you can continue work together, and you can honestly have a very good time, because the entertainment industry is a very fun industry. It's an amazing industry to be in. But the best part about it is being able to be around friends and being around people that you get along with. Because that happens so rarely in this industry. That if you have people that you get along with, you should never give that up. I think that's basically what I'm trying to say.